Now, we have clearly seen one side of the coin, which is the demand numbers approved by leadership during the demand planning process. The other, equally important side of the coin is supply planning, which helps us understand how much of this demand can realistically be fulfilled and under what conditions. Let us understand this with our ongoing example, where the approved demand plan for all three laptops have been received by supply planners for all three models of the laptops. At this stage, the supply planner carefully evaluates capacity. Again, it's important to understand what is capacity. So, capacity refers to key resources to meet demand, such as available labor, machinery, production lines, storage space, number of working days, and even working hours. Now, let's look at our demand plan for all three models in the table on the screen. If we sum up the entire demand here, we get better clarity of total demand in each month. For an example, 525 quantity is required in January, 515 quantity required for February, and so on. Now let's assume that all three models of the laptop have same capacity requirements to manufacture, like labors, hours for assembly, and machines requirement. Now, let's also assume that our plant's monthly capacity to manufacture laptops is 525 quantity. In this table, you will see our ideal capacity is 525 quantity throughout all the months. But considering this capacity, we clearly can see that there will be backlog in few months, and we won't be able to meet our required demands. To understand it better, we have calculated cumulative demand and cumulative capacity in next two rows, and finally, the backlog. After calculating this, we can now see that we will have 25 quantity backlog in November month and 150 quantity backlog in December month. This backlog is telling us that we won't be able to meet our customer demand. The process is led by Supply Planner that begins by collecting key inputs such as inventory levels, production capacity, and supplier constraints. One commonly used method here is RCCP, or Rough Cut Capacity Planning, which compares demand against critical resources to identify constraints early. Based on this analysis, a supply plan is created defining what to produce, how much to produce, and when to produce. Buying plans are also aligned for externally sourced materials. The plan is reviewed collaboratively, optimized for service levels and costs, approved by leadership, and then communicated for execution. Performance is continuously monitored, and adjustments are made whenever required. Now, since we need to rework on capacity planning to meet our demands, in these situations, the supply planner explores multiple feasible options. These may include hiring additional labor, or adding extra shifts or overtime, or installing new machinery, or identifying alternate or new suppliers, or even subcontracting part of the production, or even leasing additional warehouse space for storage. For example, a company may decide to run night shifts for 3 months instead of investing in new machines, as it may be more cost-effective. All these options are evaluated based on feasibility, cost, risk, and speed of implementation. These alternatives are then discussed in the supply planning meeting, where accountability primarily lies with the manufacturing team, buying team, and plant managers. Now, let's assume Mr. Sean is a supply planner who invites a supply planning meeting to plan how to meet demand with different options. He invites different attendees in meeting, like Mr. David, who is our demand planner, Mr. Brian, who is a buyer, Mr. Michael, who is a manufacturing leader, and also Miss Sophia from Stores Department. In this supply planning step, buying and manufacturing team is accountable to review and adjust the plans. Now, let's assume that meeting has started to review this plan. Mr. Bryan, who is a buyer, confirms raw material suppliers are good to supply raw material for high-end gaming laptops and low-end gaming laptops, but they will not be able to meet supply for Q4, where business laptop demand has increased significantly. He suggests that best option is that we'll develop a new supplier in the month of March and ensure that Q4 demands will be met. The action item that remains open on Mr. Bryan is developing a new supplier with timeline of March. Further, Mr. Michael, who is a manufacturing leader, mentioned that his team has limitations to meet demand beyond 525 quantity per month, and he will need to adjust the capacity plan to meet this demand. After reviewing multiple options, Michael thinks that having extra shift for 5 months starting from August till December will be more feasible. In his plan of extra shift, he estimates that 30 extra laptops will be manufactured per month. So the ideal capacity of 525 quantity now becomes 555 quantity per month starting from August till December. With this plan, when he checks cumulative demand and cumulative revised capacity, he sees that the entire demand can be fulfilled without having any backlogs. Now, Miss Sophia, who is our stores manager, jumps into a discussion and conveys that the normal capacity in the stores is also 525 laptops per month. But if the additional manufacturing will happen in the last 5 months of the year, she will have to work out on few options. After looking at multiple options, she feels that we should lease the storage space from third-party warehouse for 5 months for extra storage of manufactured laptops, and she can conclude that she will need 30 laptop storage every month, starting from August till December in third-party warehouse. Now, Michael, Bryan, and Sophia have come up with this plan by considering multiple options, as they see this is the most cost-effective and feasible plan to execute. Now, since supply numbers have been met, here are also few considerations that need to be considered. Here are some cost considerations due to altering our supply capacity to meet our demand. Mr. Bryan, who is our buyer, confirms he will need $500 for supplier development that covers supplier visit and documentation for their onboarding. Mr. Michael confirms he will need 2 extra labors to work in extra shift for 5 months, which means from August till December to meet extra 30 laptops production per month. But for these 2 extra labors, he will need to pay $20 wage per hour, since they are working for 5 months, which equates to 21 days into 5 months into 8 hours into $20 wage per hour, and the cost implications will be approximately $34,000. Finally, Miss Sophia, who is our stores manager, confirms she will need third-party storage services who costs $15 per laptop per month. So to store 30 laptops for 5 months, we will have to pay total $15 each for 30 laptops for 5 months, which is approximately $2,250. The overall expense for this supply plan will be approximately $36,400. The plan is finalized and shared to all the attendees on email by supply planner, Mr. Sean. The plan is formally approved by plant manager, manufacturing manager to proceed with further discussion and approval. Here, our supply planning step takes a pause. Now, even after demand and supply numbers are clarified in the first 3 steps, very few businesses find demand-supply balancing an easy work. This is because it requires extensive coordination across multiple teams, functions, and time horizons. There are often several options to meet demand, and each option carries a cost impact or future financial implication. That is why the 4th stage of S&OP is called the pre-S&OP meeting, or sometimes also referred to as financial integration, comes into a picture. This step helps all stakeholders to agree on the final demand and supply numbers, decide which actions to take, understand the financial impact, and allocate budgets to close any gaps. The outcome is a single, aligned, and financially feasible plan for the business. Now, let's move to the next step of our S&OP process, which is pre-S&OP meeting or financial integration.